I'm a pirate. I have a pirate bird. It's a cat. Arr! Good evening and welcome to Gustav Makes a Movie, where we are gonna talk about writing and script writing and stuff like that. Hello, I'm just gonna start it. Writing is a subject I find very difficult to talk to because I have very hard to explain how I come up with stuff, but I try my best. And it basically are two parts of the first thing and how you write the script. And that is that you have text here that explains what is going on, and then you have a little bit of a gap, and then you have the name, and then you write out the dialogue and the next person's dialogue and everything. So I have a little example of this, but I will read it at the same time as I'm showing it.
In Sweden, in a forest, there is a house. In the house, there is a man sitting trying to come up with jokes about script writing.
Well, so that is the part when things are explained, what is going on in the scene. So now, let's talk about the dialogue. So, premise for this is that the crystal skull and the alien skull has sent a spy from the Secret Service to the kitchen. They have found that there are cookies there. So they're gonna talk about it. Intelligence has been showing that there is cookies in the kitchen. Indeed! We should absolutely go down there and get the cookies. Yes, we should absolutely go there right now. I'm going at the moment. I'm coming with you. Now, as you see that they now has just explained what you're gonna do through dialogue. So, if you're gonna write this, you can actually show more than telling, which is a very good thing with movies. Crystal Skull, there is cookies in the kitchen. Intelligence has told us. No, cookies in the kitchen! It's a trap! Now, you see, they didn't have to explain what they were doing, but you still understand the whole premise of it. So now when you see about inner monologue things that they can also add and also not add so much. If you absolutely want to research more about that, I would absolutely recommend you watching all a million recuts of Blade Runner with inner monologues and without monologues and with stuff and without stuff, and well, there's a whole thing that is... God damn it, kitty!
Hi, my name is Boris, and I was living in the Soviet Union until one day.
This my Soviet ride.
Everything was grey as usual, and then suddenly I was sent to a gulag. Because here is a tractor. Another tractor. Another tractor. It is hard labor cutting wood in the gulag every day. A year in gulag. No, I mean another tractor.
So now you're wondering, like, how do I come up with all my absurd stories about inappropriate superheroes and forest people with Evil Dead as Bergman and stuff like that? Because usually I observe something like, oh, this would be an interesting premise, or if this a story that has been already told and made can be made in that way. And this idea usually, like, I wrote it down and then they kind of mutates over time into something else. An example is very good. One of my movies when I made the shark with legs and a chainsaw. And I was planning to make a sequel to that, with actually being like, we need a shark to fight this group of people, blah blah, you know, like all action movies, like they take some criminal to fight in a good cause, which is probably would never work in reality. Anyway, the things that then the shark would gang up with some other people and stuff like that. And then, what are you gonna fight? Oh, maybe something like, a big monster or something that the environmentalists, radical environmentalists has digged up when they try to stop something, or something. But then it just mutate into, we have this monster, let's do something with that, and like, it's gonna be some action, so we like to how about they have a tank? And we couldn't have a tank, but a mech suit then, so I built a mech suit, and then suddenly we had a different movie. So you see that they mutate over time, the ideas, to something else. Because that thing is like, when you start to write these things down, you are going to like combine them and stuff like that over time. That's actually how I work. And then we just, what kind of characters could this be? And you have some ideas and some lines that I wrote down also, and then the character is formed over time like that. Yes. Writing! Let's talk about that!
Well, even there you do most of it really. What I do is usually just editing. Since you write like shit.
Yes, I am heavily dyslexic and write in a phonetic English kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. Which means I am now a master, a grand master of dyslexic writing. So I correct the spelling and such things. I really go through the dialogue and make sure that it sounds natural, stuff like that.
Yes, you will have...
add bad puns all the time.
You have a very lot of liberty of adding things to the dialogue and stuff like that. So it's very involved. But because I have a lot of time to think on my boring jobs I usually have. And walk around so that. So that's one also thing, that you have some kind of manual labor between your creative process to, let's say, build it up and then execute it.
Indeed.
Yes. Well, so what do you think is important in making a good script?
Well, obviously the story element needs to be there. And it has to get chopped up properly. And every story needs a very clear, defined, if you will, beginning, middle, part, and end. An arc, so to say.
Yes, or an interesting new version of it.
Exactly. Because that helps the audience follow what is going on. And then, of course, you should always try to write your characters in a realistic way. Like, think about it. If you were in that situation, how would you say things? How would you do things?
Yes, and about that, when we are sitting here right now, because of a little scene we are making, call it a post-mortem doctor, or what do you call them? The ones who are cutting people up and see what they died of.
Abduction. Not abduction.
That's what Alien do!
Exactly.
Yeah, anyway, that person that digs through dead bodies.
Yeah, the bored guy.
Yeah, so I wrote some absurd dialogue yesterday, and we filmed it today now, and we didn't thought about the characters too much more than your American man, police, gang.
My very stereotypical American. This is how the rest of the world views you Americans. Yes you know.
Stereotype. Anyway, when we were at, usually our scripts are mostly like cliff notes.
Yeah.
So I was sitting here and we were just bullshitting, and I come to the conclusion that when I was sitting here with this mouth protection and start speaking Russian, I thought that would be interesting character, Russian doctor, Russian Italian doctor.
Yeah, with the hands.
Do you need surgery?
Also a very stereotypical character, because we need more stereotypes.
Yes. What is that black doctor in the American politics right now?
Dan Carson.
Yeah. I will operate on you.
He's a very strange guy.
Yeah. Character, at least.
He does.
Yes. So, I hope this was a little bit informative. This is very difficult subject to make a interesting video of, I think. But however, another thing I have to mention is that when we write it, I usually put a lot of roles that me and Jesper can do, because getting people here where I live in the middle of the forest, they hesitate a lot of time to do that, so that makes planning a little bit difficult. So that's why we have a microscopic crew when we do this projects as we make. Anyway, I hope this was some kind of interesting. Next time we're going to talk about how to plan your movie and actually get things being shot in a more easier way. So, see you next one.